Hello, good evening, welcome. I got all excited because there were new intros.
Oh no, they were really good though. They were cute.
I was trying to contain myself, but it was not happening. Oh, I do, Marion. That is going to be the topic of this evening. Is I ask everybody that's watching, don't put any comments about Crufts on here, please, because people are.
Especially the outcome, because some people are watching it.
Yeah, I would assume that Marion's watching us on one screen and Crufts on another. But I do understand, Marion, if you need to go and then come back and watch us later.
Yeah.
We would forgive you for that. It's fine.
You would.
Marion loves the new beginning. Thank you, Marion. Chloe's here. God, Chloe's early.
Hi, Chloe.
Oh, it's because Chloe's stuck at home, still poorly, presumably.
Oh,
How are you feeling
Chloe.
better, actually?
Okay. I like the new titles. I like the fact that you've got a little video in there of our first ever episode.
Yeah, in there is the first episode, the 10th episode, the 17th. There's like the 30th, and I just grabbed all the way through. Because
some of them are not so flattering pictures, but I'll forgive you because I like the title.
So anyway, welcome to the Sunday show, Wiccan Warriors Sunday show. In tonight's show, we're going to be talking about the next Psychic Night, which we're just waiting to confirm the date on, but I'm hoping the weekend we picked is right. Some tarot reading times that are going to be available from me. Vlogging a year later, because I don't know if you've seen on our Facebook page, I think it was the 28th, 29th of February last year. That was when you first talked me into this.
No, I didn't talk you into it. I said, we're going live tonight.
Yeah, that's kind of how it worked.
Yeah.
We're also going to be talking about the persecution of witches. We'll always welcome your comments. Join in live. If you're not watching us live, you were late, but that's fine. Join in anyway. We can pick the comments up and bring them up in next week's topic. And also, there's some prizes going to be available next week's show. So that's all coming up tonight. So, Penny,
Yes.
What's your week been like? What's everybody's week been like? What's your week been like?
It's been quite, as per usual, it's been quite a tumultuous week.
Yes.
End of the week was quite a difficult end.
Mickey's arrived.
Hey, Mickey.
Jess has arrived. Let's not forget Jess.
A lot of thinking has occurred over this weekend.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
We had lights dip in then. Some things might change for me, some things might not.
Yeah, I had a pretty good week as far as like working with the muggles. Because as people know, I work as like a behavioural mentor in an academy. So I tend to work with the sort of naughty kids. But one of them actually came up to me and told me the results of his tests. He said, your speech, it inspired me, sir. And part of my brain's going, really? Is this true? But the other part of me thought, why would he go out of his way to say it if it wasn't? I don't know if he's quite that. But no, that was really good. So it kind of buzzed me up.
There's a little bit of life coaching you did there alongside what you do in your role.
That's what my role is all the time. I don't like issuing what they call like sanctions. I don't like issuing sanctions if I don't have to. So it's almost like the kids have to beg me to give them a sanction because I give them as many outs as I can. And if I can't give them an out, then my patience runs out. And they all know that. They all know I'm pretty firm but fair. But one of the other teachers said to me that every time you walk past our class, the lads in the class go, that's our favourite, sir. So that's pretty good. So it's nice. It's an inspiring week. So yours was emotionally up and down, but
it was.
Mine was pretty good. Sorry.
Whatever.
And I had no car trouble this week. That was pretty good.
Oh my lord!
Yeah.
Tempting
So that was nice.
Let's touch wood spectacularly.
Yeah. I've had quite a busy weekend this weekend though, because I got all buzzed up and started editing that, and disappeared down a rabbit hole of obsessive kind of focus, and the time just disappeared yesterday while I was editing that. So
I got stuff done while you were distracted.
So yeah, right. I'm just going to quickly catch up on the comments. If you get ready, because I'd like us to talk about the persecution of witches first, or at least touch on it.
Okay.
It's quite a big subject because it was International Ladies' Day and stuff. So we're going to go over that. But I just want to make sure.
Women's Day.
What did I say?
Ladies.
What's the difference?
Ladies can be seen as quite derogatory and patronising.
Okay. Chloe's had most of her week in bed. She doesn't work for OnlyFans people. She's a bit poorly.
Different kind of a thing. Completely different.
So yeah, if you've not, I'm going to check and see who's been liking. Love from Justine and Leah. Thank you very much. You guys are top of the tree. Yay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Excellent. So, persecution of witches.
Persecution of witches.
When
Hot
did it
topic
start?
at the moment.
And who started it? And why are we talking about it now?
Oh, good Lord. That was very professional. So I shall equally act professional. So it was in the news. First Minister of Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon, as part of International Women's Day, issued an apology to all the women who were persecuted or convicted and indeed executed for witchcraft between 1563 and 1736. It seems like a random thing, but there is a campaign group, the Witches of Scotland, who have been campaigning for all of these women, all the documented women for certain, to be pardoned of their crime or assumed crime.
So do we have, sorry to butt in, do we have an actual list of those names?
There are many lists.
Because doesn't a pardon involve them being, the name has to be read out?
Yes.
So that's going to take somebody a while.
No, because historically record keeping was shocking.
Oh, well, yeah.
There can be an overall pardon, and because it was left down to
Men.
local magistrates to record who had been arrested, accused, what occurred during the trial, if a trial occurred, what the outcome was, and what further action was taken. All of that had to have been recorded. But because it was done locally, it was more miss than hit for that. Although there is extensive lists of names. Bearing in mind, that's a big time period, 1563 to 1736, which is when the Scottish Witchcraft Act came in.
It's true.
And for the length of it until it was repealed in 1736, and everyone went, this is all a bit silly, and why are we still doing this? It wasn't just women who were accused or executed.
Do we have a percentage on that, or is it just...
We do. I will get to that. You're jumping ahead. You're jumping ahead. I've probably researched this. So, Nicola Sturgeon brought it up in her speech.
Professional show, folks.
That it was working towards a pardon, but definitely an apology for the misogyny towards women. That kind of discounts the men that were accused and executed, but it was... I will get to the figures of that in a minute. So, here's an interesting fact. Between 1427 and 1436, there were people that were accused of witchcraft and conversing or interacting with the devil or with evil forces and manipulating people. But really from 1427 to 1736, it is believed that 30 to 60,000 were accused of witchcraft. That's a shocking number of people. That's globally.
Struth.
That's
So
globally.
it's how many people in how much time?
So over a period of about 300 years.
Oh, that's so different.
That's still a lot.
Over 3, yeah. No, it's still
a lot when basically you couldn't prove any of it.
Well, yeah.
And that it was mainly against women.
If you send me down the
And
Christian rabbit hole, we're off.
Don't preempt.
See?
Don't preempt.
See?
Right, so in Scotland, because I've come from the Scotland perspective first, because Nicola Sturgeon has chosen to issue this apology.
Did Scotland do the witch thing? Save your questions to the end, because you may find the answer's been said.
Indeed. So, go from this Scottish perspective. In Scotland, 4,000 were accused of being witches over just under 200 years.
Right.
Okay. So 4,000. Half of them that were accused were executed. 85% of those were women. So it kind of dismisses the 15% that were accused that were men. Kind of pushes the agenda forward. Go, oh, it's International Women's Day. Let's use this. Dismisses the fact that there were men that were accused. So there was the Scottish Witchcraft Act of 1563, which kind of kick-started the we're coming after you and this is what we're looking for.
Right.
So there's a lot of misconception, and I have spoke about this before, about how executions occurred. So in Scotland, those that were accused and convicted were likely to be burned, not necessarily at the stake, but burned. And it is likely, some records indicate that they were strangled first. So they were actually strangled to death, and then their bodies burnt to prevent any curses or anything like that. Okay, there's quite a lot of this, if you look at heritage sites. But in Scotland, there was quite a lot of burning. There was burning at the stake, but more in Scotland than anywhere else. So, the Great Scottish Witch Hunt of 1597 killed 200 that were accused, convicted, then executed. So 200 in that year alone. There were 4 other witch hunts that were a year long around that period. So that's quite a lot of people that were accused during that time.
And were all those people convicted?
No, that's what I said to you. Half.
No, of that last lot of ones that you said.
I don't know.
Oh, in that witch hunt.
No, but it's documented that 200 were killed during that year.
So they would only have killed them if they were convicted.
Yeah.
Ah.
But I don't know how many were accused.
Oh, I see.
So do you know what I mean? So I can't really give that figure.
Okay.
So what could get you accused of being a witch?
Riding a broomstick, wearing a pointy hat.
No, nobody did those things anyway. Nobody witnessed those things.
Okay. Collecting herbs in a forest or something stupid.
If somebody said, I've got a hangover, it's because she's put a curse on me, she would be accused of witchcraft. So causing hangovers was an accusation.
Chloe got the answer, which pretty much was everything.
Yeah, pretty much. So causing hangovers. Being accused of turning into an owl to meet up with the devil. So if somebody saw an owl, barn owls that fly out at night, especially in secluded woodlandy areas where the hamlets and villages, because that's where these people came from. They didn't tend to come from big towns.
No.
It tended to be outlying villages. So if somebody said that you turned into an owl, it wasn't for them to prove that you did. It was for you to prove that you didn't. How do you prove that either way? You can't. So then it was decided that they would look for marks on the body, things like that, to see if You had a third teat to feed the devil. And anything could be perceived as that. Any kind of mole or lump could be perceived as a extra
I'm going to jump ahead if that's a good
So
question.
guess who examined the accused women?
Priests.
No, just men.
Oh.
Magistrates or witch finders. So they were the one, take all your clothes off. There's no arguing about it. Just take all your clothes off.
The witch hunt's over.
We won't listen to you because you'll tell us lies and try to confound us. So instead of that, take all your clothes off and let us examine you. So that was really nice. Another thing was conjuring storms. So particularly the ones that affected King James's ships and sunk them. So there was a storm, his ships sunk or run aground. It must have been witchcraft that did it because he was so against witches, because he said he had a spell.
How did they find which witch it was?
Well,
it was just the one closest to the beach when they got ashore.
Pretty much. Whoever was closest and had been accused by somebody else in the village of causing hangovers or things like that. Right. So the first woman to be executed specifically for witchcraft that is documented was in 1591, and her name was Agnes Sampson. The last woman to be executed for witchcraft was Janet Horne, and that was in 1727. That's the last documented
witch
execution that specifically indicated that it was because of witchcraft. So here's the interesting thing. During that time period, women weren't allowed to talk in court. So if you were accused of being a witch, you weren't allowed to defend yourself in court. You weren't allowed in any way to be a witness for yourself. And no women could speak for you, because if they spoke for you, you'd obviously put a spell on them. And
that's insane.
Yeah, so there was no defence. Essentially, if somebody decided that's it, you're a witch, you was a witch. So what they did was, the way that they got a lot of their convictions were from inducing hallucinations. So what they did was they tortured. So you were starved, you weren't given anything.
No, sleep deprived.
You were dehydrated, you were sleep deprived, and quite likely subject to physical torture as well. At which point your brain kind of unhinges, you hallucinate. That's evidence that you've got the devil inside you, or that you're communicating with the devil because you're talking nonsense and babbling.
It's horrible when people kind of commune with the other side of the fictional book you're reading, isn't it?
Okay, so that's...
People pick Darth Vader instead of Luke Skywalker.
Scotland, right? So between 1450 and 1750, so a 300-year time period, tens of thousands were executed in West Germany, France, Northern Italy, and Switzerland. All countries who at the time were hyper superstitious, and when religion was really kicking in, the Catholic Church being part of it, not Roman Catholic and not Orthodox, but the Catholic Church in general, and none of the other religions were really involved in it. But the Catholic Church seemed to push quite heavily because they were doing the heaven and hell thing. The
heaven and hell thing, like a marketing campaign.
Interestingly, there was a link between the balance between Catholics and Protestants. So the Catholics were going, oh, you're communing with the devil, and the Protestants were going, what? Don't be ridiculous. So that's made it worse. So around that time, there was more movement of people therefore improved communication. So stories being told and shared. Oh, you never guess about this woman, blah, blah, blah. More likelihood for communicable diseases, which would kill people. Oh, she put a curse on my family. They all died, that kind of thing. Crop failure, famine, because of the crop failure. So people were hungry, so they behave oddly because they're starving. There's quite a lot going on globally. So in England and the American colonies, you were more likely to be hanged for witchcraft. Okay, which is what I've said from the start. So it's worth knowing that everything seems to be linked. When you research it, there's a lot about King James I, or in Scotland, he was King James VI. He ruled both places. So in Scotland, he was the 6th. He was obsessed with witchcraft, completely obsessed. So he kicked all of this into gear and then pushed for the witch hunts, because he believed that these women, I think it was women in Berwick, had put a curse on him or cast a spell over him or something. But actually, even though he kick-started it, more people were executed under Elizabeth I for witchcraft than under him.
The Queen's mum.
But we won't talk about that because that's a woman executing women.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but
so that's a weird
slant. The next one executed a woman
on history.
At least one we know of.
What?
I said the current one executed.
Stop it! We're not getting involved in treason now. Okay. So, who was most likely to be accused?
I can feel a sneeze coming. Sorry, folks.
Who's most? It's not from a curse to make him shut up. Who was most likely to be accused were goddess worshipping, herbalist, midwives. So I think I might be in trouble.
Yeah, you'd definitely be in trouble. Jess did say that who hasn't turned into an owl to go and hang out with the devil?
It is true.
And Marion's really glad that she didn't live there then.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely am, because I would have fitted the criteria for that straight away.
Yeah.
So
you walk around telling everybody you're a witch.
Well, yeah, but I'm proud of that. But I thought that was really interesting, and it's interesting that it's a topic that's been brought up now. You've got to wonder about the reasoning behind choosing this particular story to push on International Women's Day. Not thinking of propaganda and trying to distract people from stuff.
No, not at all.
No. Do we think it's just to say, oh,
no mention of Elizabeth I either?
No.
So
there's a lot of information out there. There absolutely is tons.
The only confusion I have with this is there isn't a persecution still happening now, is there? So the apology is all right, saying, okay, we're sorry we killed all those people years ago. And what? We promise not to do it again. I don't see what the point is. None of those people that were killed as witches were ever actually 100% proved to be witches. And they may have actually have killed some very powerful witches.
Accidentally.
When
really what
by
they
conducting
did was
stupid experiments. Like, we're going to tie you to a chair, throw you in a river. If you sink, you drowned as you weren't a witch. If you float, you're a witch. Then we're going to kill you. The odds, like you said, they couldn't talk in court. But I'm trying to figure out what the motivation is for it now for women in the future. Are we now to expect more women to come out as witches because they don't have to fear persecution?
Bearing in mind, I don't know
Catholic
about
men
not fearing persecution, because I think there is still the potential for that to happen, but not prosecution, because there's no the Witchcraft Act was repealed. So you can accuse somebody of it, but it's not illegal to be a witch.
Nope.
But there's no corporal punishment anymore.
No, true. So what's the point of the apology? What do you think the point of the apology is? Because we can't figure it out. Oh, Jess, there we go.
It's true.
Doulas
Jess,
would have been done for.
They would just jump onto Doula UK and round us all up.
Chloe, right, that's you four gone.
We'd be in proper trouble. Oh yeah, of course, Chloe. Oh dear, it was nice to have known you for the short time. Yeah, it really fascinates me. It really, really does. How strongly it took hold and people engaged with it. But there was lots of superstitions. It was easier to blame somebody else. Why haven't you paid your tithe? Oh, because she cast a spell on our crops and they failed. So we've got nothing for the tithe. Or
no.
My husband is constantly drunk, but that's because she put a spell on him. Or
it's the spirit.
I know that she's been getting with my husband, so I'm going to accuse her, so you kill her and get rid of her. There's a lot of reasons why it happened.
Marion's with us in the comments. I've been wondering about the purpose of the apology too.
Yeah, it seems quite random. First of all, I was quite excited by it and thought, what an amazing thing to do. Obviously, a good few hundred years late.
Well, now we've established that there's no Jesus. They can't establish that there's a devil for the to be worshipping. The fact that witches really...
Have we established there's no Jesus?
I'm fairly certain, yeah. The book that they've got it all from come from the other side, the sandy bit of the world.
Oh. Where the man that looks like he does in the films wouldn't have looked like that, because people from that part of the world don't look like
no,
that.
He looked more like Sinbad. No, I always thought that was very weird though. As a European country.
Sorry, my brain went Sinbad the Sailor, Popeye the Sailor. Jesus didn't look like Popeye, did he?
I don't know. I'm not the only one that goes through it.
That was a bit weird. Sorry, go on.
No, I always thought it was very strange that Christianity took such a hold in the UK and Scotland when there were such heathenistic pagan backgrounds. I always found that very strange.
Well, heathen's just person of the land.
And, well, yeah. Just as a term. I mean, I know the Vikings came and went and all the rest of it, but the fact that we took on that religion so
but why did
cheap money.
No, because we were bullied.
No, it's money. Money paid for everything. We'll give you titles, we'll give you land. And if you follow the line of money.
That's for the upper levels, for those that lived in outlying places that took to religion. They did that from fear. Right,
so if you couldn't afford to go and tithe, like you just said, and go to church, you were then seen to be going against the church. But you had to go to work to earn a living. Yeah. So there's always forms of persecution. Currently, we're being persecuted by gas and electricity companies. We're also being persecuted by a country that wants to invade another country. We're always being persecuted as a race by something in some direction. I'm being persecuted because I drive a diesel car. The rich are fine because they can afford to save money. Poor people can't afford to save money. I've got off on a bit of tangent. Sorry. Rabbit hole.
Gone on a massive rabbit hole because we're talking about witchcraft. Do I think it's acceptable now?
2 seconds. There was a genuine point to this.
Yeah.
There is a way of controlling society through culling under the guise of something. Witchcraft I think, was one of them. Otherwise, they're going against the church. So let's cull the poor people. Most of them were poor. Let's cull them. Or some of them were rich ex-wives.
To get rid of them.
But then I thought about this as well.
Wasn't Anne Boleyn accused of witchcraft?
I believe so, yes. But this then led me to believe that we get a couple of hundred years later, we're a lot more civilized, aren't we? So women get melancholy or whatever it is, and they end up in an institute. So.
Oh, no, that's because we get... hysterical because of our monthlies.
Yeah.
Our monthly hysteria.
We went from, they're clearly mad, let's burn them, they must be witches, to, okay, they're not witches, but they're still clearly mad, let's put them in a room that's padded. So
and
I just
get it out
think,
of you.
And until that lady threw herself in front of that horse and really kind of kickstarted
Emmeline Pankhurst,
the female movement, I think the persecution was horrendous.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, there we go.
I think actually.
Incidentally, can we have International Men's Day? When's
Let's
that?
not get into that. You're privileged white male.
Yeah, apparently so. I didn't get a day for
apparently
anything.
you're not allowed to make any kind of comment about anything because you're a privileged white male.
Yeah.
So you're not allowed to have a comment. So even though you're discriminated against now, you are not allowed to say that you are discriminated against.
Fucking dare somebody to come up and tell me I've had a privileged life.
But anyway, off on a tangent. Do I think there was a reason for the speech? Yes, I do think there is a reason for the speech. And I think it was to highlight misogyny. It was to big up women because they hadn't been. Historically, for hundreds of years, they had been treated shockingly in the worst possible ways. They were tortured. They were murdered, for want of a better way of looking at it. They were definitely murdered. And that it was okay. It was something that the law said they absolutely could do it. It was okay to do.
The rich and powerful made the rules so they could.
The king started at the top of the tree, made that rule. But
who controls the game controls the rules.
It was about misogyny.
Yep. It absolutely was.
Having no respect and active contempt for women and oppressing them. So it was an apology that been allowed to happen, and that it was a woman at the top of the tree, the First Minister of Scotland, that went, "Look at me on the top of the tree. I'm apologising to all of you women who went before, that were treated atrociously, and there's never been an apology."
So it's more of a look how far we've come sort of logic.
I think it is.
That makes sense.
Look how I'm smashed through the glass ceiling, kind of a thing. Does that make sense? If it doesn't and you think differently, absolutely tell us. Do I think it's okay now for people to say, "I'm a Wiccan, I'm a witch"? Yeah, I do. And I think some people genuinely follow the path and do believe in goddesses and do work with nature and appreciate nature, give gratitude, and are about helping others. There are those that aren't and quite enjoy the label.
Yeah. Insta witches.
Yeah.
Hashtag with my crystal.
Which is unfortunate, but you're
always going to get that.
You'll always have that. There'll always be people that go, "Oh, that's a fun bandwagon."
Yeah.
And they'll want to jump on it. But it's like each time that we've done something and people say, "What do I describe you as?" As a witch. And it's not going to offend me. It's just a word.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be hurt by it. I mean,
anybody out there describe themselves as a witch?
Not that you're called a witch.
Right, let's have a quick look.
By an angry person.
Make sure I'm not missing any comments.
I've got quite a few little comments coming through now.
Yeah, it's all good. Right, so
it was a bit of a tangent, but it is appropriate, as we're the Wiccan warriors, to talk about witches.
I think it's very progressive of Scotland to say we're not going to burn witches.
They haven't said we're not going to burn any.
Well, yeah,
they're saying we're sorry that we did. Sorry that we strangled and then burnt them. I don't think she was that descriptive. I think it was more about we need to recognise that time's moved forward and nobody said sorry.
I have a question, and it's kind of linked to I forgot what I was going to do then. Sorry, I had a comment pop up and it distracted me. What was I saying?
Topic.
Yeah, about persecution of witches now.
Yeah.
The laws back then changed because I think the Catholics established that they couldn't prove Jesus was one side to have enough physical law kind of courtroom setting evidence of the other. Do you know what I mean? I call first my first witness. Here comes Satan. He confirms that she chatted with him. Do you know what I mean? That they couldn't go, well, here's Jesus. He confirms that actually happened.
It didn't stop dead. It dwindled. People stopped going, all right, then let's stop doing this. It's not actually very nice.
I'd be interested to know who they moved on to.
The persecution?
Yeah, who did they move on to next? There's bound to have been...
The fighting between Scotland and England became the focus. Elizabeth I.
Right, so
Mary.
it goes back to being about territories then, not about witches.
Interestingly, there is a little sidestep there that part of the Spanish Inquisition,
Dun, dun, dun.
and nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition, was about investigating and establishing whether people were witches. And even though they were part of their role was to do that, only 2 women were convicted and executed during the time of the Spanish Inquisition. I think they were like, this is a bit boring. There's not really much fighty stuff here. There's not a lot to be gained by culling peasants.
Random housewives.
We've actually run out of peasants to persecute. We need to leave a few women behind, and men, but we need to leave a few behind. And so only 2 actually. So even though they were tasked to it, I don't think they put much effort in.
No. Right, shall we move on past the persecution?
Oh, let it go now.
Oh no, that was my
Said
point.
piece.
This was what my point was going to be. International Women's Day.
Yeah.
When are you guys going to stop doing it? When are you going to be happy that everything's level, equal and stuff?
I can't be honest, I didn't even realise what it was until it popped up on social media. It's International Women's Day. Oh, is it? Okay. Should I have done something? Because I've been very selfish and focused on me and what I'm doing and family.
Yeah.
and I've been quite introspective and disengaging, to be fair, because there is a lot of horror in the news and the media at the moment. Not that I'm in any way going to have a conversation about that now, but I've never wanted to ignore the news more than I do now.
I do
and
as well, absolutely.
to focus on what I can do for us, and being quite selfish about that, because I can't fix what's going on the other side of the world.
Nope.
I can have no impact on that whatsoever. I mean, I could try casting a spell. It worked for the COVID spell jar.
Not once.
Nope.
Right, 2 seconds. I just need to catch up with this, and then we're going to talk about a year ago.
Okay.
What it was like a year ago when we decided to start this.
If anybody's interested in setting up a coven, send me a message.
Comments.
But you've got to seriously want to commit.
Recently, there was a family reunion. Sadly, it was a funeral. It was a family reunion. I can't even say that word. Reunion. Oh, that's good, and I'm sorry at the same time.
Yeah, I remember now. I did say that there would be a coming together of family. I do remember that. This is the difficulty. There is no specific of what that coming together is going to be.
No.
Whether it's it is a celebration. It's a celebration of someone's life. And a celebration of your own family and mortality, and it's a celebration. This is the optimistic part of my brain, which hasn't been very engaged this week, working desperately to find a positive in a really sad thing.
So, right, moving on slightly from that. By all means, if you've got any comments or thoughts on the apology that was done, or International Women's Day with regards to now empowering witches, then by all means let us know in the comments. The next Ryan Psychic Night, We've not had it fully confirmed yet, but we are looking to do 1st of April. So we're looking to book that Friday, the 1st of April. Booking this time won't be through Alex and the coffee shop. It will be through us. So once the details are available, I'll put a link there. We're also going to limit the numbers this time. There will only be 15, I think is what we said.
Okay.
So we will be limiting the ticket numbers. Oh, Chloe, what?
Stop trying to get out of it, Chloe. Always finding a reason.
If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. There's nothing we can do with thee.
No.
Yeah, so hoping to confirm that. But we might find out yet that the venue's not available and they might tell us to
do one.
do one. And we'll look at the second Friday in April. So we'll see.
And remember, Chloe, you don't have to necessarily attend an event. You can book us directly.
That's what I'm about to say now. What I'm looking to do is open up some regular time slots where I will either meet you online or you can actually physically come to us, or I can come to you, or Penny can come to you. And it would be proper one-to-one tarot coaching. So my shamanic way of doing things. It does take about an hour. It's a lot more in depth. If you've had a reading from us in the Ryan setting, it goes into a lot more detail. Each one of those spreads builds out, and then we cover each topic, and we can dive deeper into each topic, and then ask for some forms of guidance from spirit or your guides, and then start to make a plan. So yes, I'm looking to do those regularly from on a Tuesday and Thursday afternoon time. So details will come for that soon. So our first show, about a year ago, or just over a year ago, you come to me with a fantastic idea, didn't you?
All right. Am I taking blame or credit? Because that will
make
a difference to what my response is.
It depends on how you measure our success.
I think we're quite successful. People out there might not agree. It's always nice when people go, "Oh, it's you off the internet." Or,
that is a little bit weird.
Yeah, it is. Even more weird when people go, "Oh, it's you off the telly."
Yeah, because it's not.
No, this is not.
We're not celebrities.
No, not yet.
I don't think I could handle being a celebrity.
I don't think I could handle you being a celebrity.
I should keep an eye on Jess put in the comments about the tarot reading sessions. What I'm looking to do is something sort of half 4, half 5, or 5 till 6, something like that. And it can either be done online. I would much rather do it in person because I get a much better psychic
connection.
link. I would get a much better connection if I'm in the room.
Read the comment. You blanked it out.
Oh,
right. Okay.
So yeah. So you came to me a year ago and said, I want to go live on Facebook.
Yeah, I can't remember why though. I can't remember what the motivation for it was.
If I remember rightly, it was UK Haunted. We were watching one of theirs, and it was something along the lines of, well, if they can do this, surely we could do this, can't we?
No.
And we'd spoken about we wanted to have people round to do like an open circle, sharing of knowledge,
we were in lockdown.
Passing on skills. And then we went into lockdown. So we got the A board out in the lounge. Remember, we had a little business meeting and we drew on there and did spider diagrams and everything.
But when you say that, I did that.
Yeah, I was in the meeting.
Proper Venn diagram. What you do, what I do.
Yeah, and we looked at it as doing little social media videos, doing things like this, doing images, posts, because we knew we were, at that point, we were locked in. We couldn't go anywhere. So we had to try and get it online.
That's
so
true.
We did this.
And I knew your anxiety about it. And to be fair, anybody who's known me for any length of time would, I imagine, be quite surprised that I even contemplated doing this, because I never used to be in any photos at all.
I've always been
certainly never would have done any videos.
Not so much as I got older.
Because I had to do one my doula trainer, and she said part of it is you have to do a video, and it was like, oh, I'm just going to have to do it. I'm fairly certain that I look like death warmed up in the video. And it was then I thought, what a ridiculous thing to be worried about what other people think. What does it matter? These people that I quite likely won't, who's got a negative opinion of, quite likely won't ever meet.
Well, it is. I mean, I did kind of think of it. Yeah, I was nervous about going onto the internet because when you think of the internet, you think everybody's there. But when you actually look at it, you go, well, no, actually 5 people are there, although that's not necessarily right. So the first show that we ever did only went onto Facebook.
Yeah.
So
it did for a while, didn't it?
When I reshared it the other day as like a look what we did a year ago, and Marion quite rightly pointed out, we are a little bit more professional now. I think we're a little bit more structured. I make some notes before we do anything.
I made lots of notes.
Yeah, you actually made lots of notes, and we do try to have a little bit more structure.
It was really about let's have a conversation live. And see if there is people that are, if there are people that are interested in having a conversation, a share, a discovery circle, and overcoming our own fear of doing it than anything. So I imagine I haven't watched them in ages, but I imagine the first few were shocking.
The first few, it was always the first 2 or 3 minutes. That's where we were cocking it up, because we were sort of, I just need to make sure the feed's live. So you get 2 or 3 minutes that really needed to be chopped off the end when people were doing proper videos. Like, I don't know if anybody watches videos like Mr. Who's the Boss, a tech reviewer. His videos are so crisp, but he's got a person he pays to do that.
And a lot of money to buy better equipment.
Exactly. We actually did. I saved up, and we've got, pass me the new toy. It's just there. We've actually got a brand new camera, but Dipstick here didn't realise it come with a C type, not a USB type.
It's worth explaining that our pitch quality isn't as good as when we first started, because we were just going live through your phone, hence why it's portrait, not landscape, because we hadn't worked out how to turn the phone round, because every time you tried to record it went the other way.
Yeah, it was weird.
And we were literally just talking to the phone, and I had my laptop off to the side.
Yep.
Yeah, so a lot of things are different. But the picture quality, I don't think, is as good now.
No, because we're using
StreamYard program to put us in 3 places at the same time.
Yeah, but I don't want to pay for the premium. If I pay more, then they'll up it to 1080, which is what I'm potentially looking at doing. Maybe if some people book some readings, we can afford it.
Donations greatly received.
So in my head, I kind of thought of it in this sort of logic, going live on the internet, as opposed to, I'd done seminars when I did a dog behavior seminar in Kettering. I think it was about 160 people. That was 160 people that were literally in throwing distance, so they were close enough to throw something. Not like you guys, you could put in the comments, I just delete it and block it. So no. And when I travelled around doing demonstrations for the kids with the dogs, you'd have a whole audience around the arena and a Madonna mic on. And so once everything goes live, my brain just kicks in and
just get on with it.
But yeah, for the 100th of a second before I'm like, and hello, welcome, hi. So
I don't know how we'd get over that.
But I quite enjoy these. And that year ago actually led us then to my own channel. And I don't mention this very often because the videos on there are very different to the ones on here. The videos on there are a bit more, they come from a bit more of a darker place in my own personal YouTube channel. They're some journeys through mental health and men's mental health and how men are persecuted through certain situations.
It's a little roller coaster ride through your psyche.
It is, and it's a whole series of videos on there that, have a read of that.
They're available now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all there available. They're there for any.
Once they'd served their purpose and you'd exercised your own demons.
I did remove them.
You took them back down, and then other people said, actually, we're quite interested in listening to that because we're on our own journey. So you put them back up.
I did. I've overcome quite a lot. I've rebuilt quite a lot. Few times, been in some very dark places. I've made some very stupid decisions.
You're not now, though.
No, not at all. No, that's why I was able to get it out of my head. Totally unmedicated now.
Me too. Which is bizarre. But
Forgot we were live then as an audience.
I tell you what I like about these is, one, we're engaging with people that are clearly interested, people that come back week after week and send us comments and book us for readings, and give us opportunities. Yeah, and give us opportunities to go out and do things that we enjoy. We love doing this. On top of that, I think even though we had quite a big knowledge of this, the purpose of the Discovery Circle was always that we would discover stuff too, that we would learn from other people. And because we're occasionally picking topics that we have to put a little effort into, we're increasing our knowledge into the unknown as well. So, for example, I know quite a lot about witchcraft and the persecution of witches, but I didn't know facts and figures, and I think they're really relevant.
And I'm 100% blown away by the fact that I've not been censored, silenced, or had any videos blocked once while I've been on the internet for a year.
Yet.
How's that happened? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Right. I want to move us on because we're literally in the last 10 minutes. We've got a competition coming up because, like we said, we've been doing this for a year. You guys following it, we used to get between 5 and 10 views a week just through the Facebook page. Now on a weekly basis, we're up to sort of 50, 60s. That first video that we posted, when I shared it, it was at 189 or 190 views it had in the year it's been there.
Right, okay.
Now,
which isn't a lot compared to
that's nothing.
Other people.
Drop in the ocean.
Obviously.
People that have got millions of subscribers and stuff. Now we get viewing figures of sort of around 50, 60. And that's led me to, I want to put a target out there. And it requires you guys to help, obviously.
It's worth mentioning that.
The subscriber level on the YouTube channel actually went up to 20, it's gone up to 21 now. So we were stuck at 18 for ages. But no, 21. I'd like to get the YouTube channel up to 100. That's my target.
Little goals.
Yeah, so I guess get the first 100 subscribers on there.
So get all your friends.
On Facebook, we're already at 200 and something followers on there.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd like that to get up to around the 300. And if it does, if we can get that 300 on Facebook, I'll do an event for 5 people for nothing. We'll just run it as a celebration of getting 300 on Facebook and 100 on YouTube. Let's do an event and we'll do some readings. 5 lucky winners from that. We'll do that. But for this one, for next week, I've classed next week as our 50th show because we've probably done more than that because there was my own personal ones on YouTube. There's your little ones as well that you've done. So what I've ordered some limited edition mugs, a notepad, and a hat. The hat's mine. You're not having that. But if people like it, I could order some for somebody. But effectively what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys some mugs. So next week, there's going to be a competition.
Have you worked out what it's about yet?
What, next week's show?
No, the competition.
No, we'll just do it as a random generator. So everybody...
We'll put everybody's name in.
Yeah, it'll be one of them. It'll be the standard one. I wanted to copy Mickey, to be fair. You know, so
he's quite good at it.
So like, share, comment in the Facebook page and the YouTube channel, and then you go into, or something like that. I'll finalise it. We'll put a post up, and then
we do have a Twitter as well.
We do have a Twitter. Yeah, but I'll put all the details up. But these are the special edition mugs. They're not going to be the same ones. We've got the sort of standard ones. These ones are like a special sort of thank you from us to the winners and for the support.
To our weekly warriors.
Our weekly warriors. Weekly.
They join us weekly.
Yes, they do weekly join us. Right, the next thing, another event. I'd like to organise another Spooky Wander or Spooky Ramble.
Spooky Ramble.
A little Spooky
I'd like
Ramble.
to do that as well.
So keep your ears on our Facebook page. Potentially going to advertise it and do it Wednesday or Thursday evening. Got a new location, which is, I don't want to give too much away, but it's sort of Corby Kettering area. So that's the sort of area.
Oh, yes, please.
So that's where we'll be heading. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye on the Facebook page. Don't message us yet until that's there, because if you message us now, I'll read that and then I'll forget, because my A, B, C, A, D, H, D will kick in and I will not know what's going on. So yeah, so keep an eye out for that. So it'll be another spooky ramble. And a prize draw next week. Yeah, so there we go. So Facebook's got 215 currently likes. So I just need everybody. We need everybody like, share, subscribe, all that YouTube. I'm not a YouTuber, but I'd like to hit the realms of at least being at 1% of what professional YouTubers
If
are.
only to
With
annoy
100
the young
subscribers.
people.
Generation X on TikTok. So yeah, but so next week, big show next week. So we can do some prize draws.
Oh, I just need to check the date while you're having a chat.
Having a chat. I'm wrapping it up.
Oh, all right. Hang on a minute.
Oh yeah,
Yes, next Sunday is Ostara. So we'll maybe have a little chat about that.
Excellent. So next week we'll talk about Ostara,
Which is
and the prizes,
spring equinox,
and the spooky ramble, and the Ryan Psychic Night. So there's loads more updates to come next week. Thank you for joining us, guys. We hope you've enjoyed it. I did try to get a nice little professional out segmenty bit at the end, but I couldn't get it rendered quick enough because I was working on this, and then we were visited by Leah, who popped in to visit us and then went home.
yeah,
So that was quite good.
rather than back to her room.
Yeah, rather than just going upstairs.
Yeah.
So yeah, have a great week, everybody. Have an amazing time, and let us know if you have anything interesting or you want to book. By all means, drop us a message.
And a big shout out to Luke, who's trying to save my laptop.
Yes, big shout out. Right then, guys. So thank you very much.